Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. Today I'll be reviewing the S.H.Figuarts Momo from Dandadan. And it's a little bit weird that it's not called Momo ISA or ISA Momo. I don't know, just weird observation of mine. Anyway, this is the first S.H.Figuarts from Dandadan. It is also the first figure that I've gotten from Dandadan, and it's interesting. It's not the best, which we will be getting into, but it's also nowhere near the worst. It's pretty much a what you see is what you get sort of figurine, because there's only so much you can do with this character without having massive external accessories or drastically changing their design. And one of the things about Dandadan is the characters' designs change rather frequently, especially Momo's, because of outfits, and if they want to revisit this character at another time, they easily could and make an even better figure out of it. But for now, we'll be looking at this one, and it's an interesting first attempt, and I think it's a pretty good first attempt. Not great, but pretty good. Now, if you haven't seen Dandadan already, it is a fantastic series. Very much recommend it, both the anime and the manga. I've been reading the manga for a while now, and it is fantastic. I don't think it's really had any down point at all. It's just been very, very strong, and the anime is very, very good, although I don't like that the first season or first core finishes on a gigantic cliffhanger, and it's kind of annoying that the series will return in July and continue right from there. They could have spaced it out a little bit better or done like 2 cores back to back, but it is what it is. Anyway, taken out of the box, here's what Momo comes with, and it's a pretty okay loadout considering the character. So we've got the figure itself, we've got 5 faces and a bunch of different hands, some of them paired, some of them not, but it does add a lot of expressiveness to the character. Now, the only thing that they really could have added would be an actual like psychic effect part, but that would be very, very hard to sort of figure out in terms of like how do you visualize that. Would it just be a big clear hand or something like that? And then that would have just drastically increased the price, and it might not have turned out that good. There would have been like seam lines and things. It would have been a bit weird. But for a very stock standard figure, I think this was probably the way to do it. But taken out of the box and put on a display, here is Momo, and she looks pretty good all things considered, fairly accurate to the show. However, the major thing is, as this is a posable figure, you can see a lot of joints, and when you have a character wearing a sweater that's not meant to have any seams, it does make that rather obvious. All of the cuts in it, as well as bare legs having a significant and noticeable cut in the knee. Normally this doesn't bother me too much, but due to how it's sculpted, it does look a little bit funny. That being said, all of the detail work on the figure itself is good, so her hairstyle is pretty damn accurate, especially since some of the other figures I've seen of Momo, they're having a lot of trouble accurately representing her facial expression as well as her hair, but I think S.H.Figuarts Tamashii Nations have done a very, very good job here. It does read as her from all angles, which I'm very, very happy about. But again, sculpt-wise, one of the things that I don't really like is how the knees sort of hang over the shin. And that doesn't look too weird in standing poses, but when you bend them in any sort of action poses or anything else, it does look weird. And you will see that as we pose it later. But in general, the figure does capture the character pretty well. And we'll jump right into posability. So we've got a ball joint in the head. I don't really know if there's one in the neck. If there is, it's very, very hard to access. The arms can move out that far unassisted. They can move forward that far. There's not much of a butterfly, but there are a lot of joint cuts. The arm can swivel at the upper arm, bend at the elbow, ball hinge at the wrist, the standard sort of S.H.Figuarts arm. There's a ball joint in the upper chest, which allows for practically no movement at all, and it kinda sucks, honestly. And you can put that together with her waist to get a bit of a bend, but really, I'm not a fan of this. They could have probably done the cut a little bit differently to allow for a bit more motion. The skirt is in 2 pieces, and it's a slightly flexible plastic, and it allows her to kick forward and back that far, as well as do the splits a little bit. The waist can swivel, and mentioned before, the bend at the knee, as well as the overhang of the leg. There is a swivel at the upper leg as well. There's a bend at the ankle and hinge at the foot, as well as a hinge at the toe. And that's pretty much it. It is a very standard amount of articulation for a pretty standard figure. but because of the design, some of that articulation doesn't really work as intended, so the chest is not very good at all. The waist is okay, and the arms are somewhat limited due to design, but generally it's fine. I didn't do it earlier, but here's a quick size comparison. So here she is next to another S.H.Figuarts. This is the Mini Daima Goku. Here she is next to a Mega Man Kotobukiya model kit. And here she is next to the MGSD Gundam Freedom. Momo comes with 5 faces, so she's got a standard smiling face out of the box, which looks quite nice. She's got a shouting looking to the side face, which looks good, and especially looks good when you have her on the side. She's got a sort of embarrassed looking to the side face. She's got a happy eyes closed face, as well as a bursting out in laughter face. And all of these are pretty well done. The happy smiling face and the bursting out laughter face are very similar, but I think there is enough in them that they do look different enough. If anything, I would have liked some slightly more battle faces, because the shouting looking to the side is somewhat limited. Depending on what you're doing, I would have probably preferred, honestly, looking forward shouting face, but it's fine. One of the other things that is cool are her detailed earrings. Now, this isn't the anime design of the earrings. This is, I think it's like the concept art design where they're alien earrings, and it's a nice little nod to some of that art. And it is also interesting because the earrings are sculpted in the hair and not the face, so every time you swap out the faces, the earrings stay, which is kind of cool. And with those accessories, you can get Momo into some nice-ish poses. Again, it's one of those things, if you avoid looking at the joints too much, it looks pretty okay, but some of them it's just unavoidable. And I think you can get the most out of this figure when pairing it with others, or if you have on hand one of the artist support tool Kotobukiya hands, I think that that is a really, really good fill-in for her psychic powers. And I think it adds way more expression to the figure, so that is always a really cool option. But again, I think it would be nice to have a shouting, looking forward face. I think that would have helped make these action poses just look a little bit more dynamic. And I think it's fine as is, but just a tiny bit more would have been nice. But in general, you can use the same face for different poses, and the expression does change significantly, which I do like. And I was able to get pretty much every single promo pose working without issue, which I like. And thankfully the promo poses weren't too wild, so that also helped on that end too. But yeah, in general, a pretty fine figure. I'm not blown away by it by any means, but I did hear a lot of negativity about it. It's not nearly as bad as some people had made it out to be, I don't think. It's not like the best, but I think that this does capture the character pretty well, and assuming that we will be getting more in the future, there's always time to work on it and make it better. If you have one of Momo's other outfits and with different accessories, then you can get way more out of the figure. It'd be cool to have cross-compatibility with all faces as well, doing a sort of like Luffy thing. But I don't think that they'll stop at just Momo and Okarun. Okarun is coming out in January, so I will be reviewing that when I get him, and we'll see how that one turns out. I think that'll be pretty good, and I don't really like the look of the Figma all that much, but also I've been down on Figma for a long time. But we'll see when that one comes out. I might pick it up, but in general I'm sticking with S.H.Figuarts, and I like the style that they're going so far. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed that video, and I will see you all next time.